Hey, happy Monday, everybody. You're right here on KUNX Digital Broadcasting, the UNX, your new mainstream with Paranormally Blonde. I'm Sarah V, and you got Dee Dee over here on my left. I don't know about what it is for you guys. Welcome everybody to Monday's show. So last week we had the lovely Pamela Berry from the amazing 1912 Hoover House. What a lovely person.
Yes.
Yeah. And
I want to stay there.
Yeah. She's well liked. Like, she came on and people were like, Pam, like everybody loves her, right? And that house does look amazing. And I could totally see you being a part of that. And again, I'm just putting it out there to the universe. Like, Dee Dee needs to do a spiritualism Victorian house event.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that's got to be a thing for you. Like, we got to get you on that. It was a great show. She was so lovely to meet. And let's not forget, coming up in August, I believe 19th, 20th, and 21st. You guys on the side can correct me if I am incorrect, but that is the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash. That's like a tongue twister for me tonight. So let's not forget that it's got some great charities backed in its Gettysburg. So go check it out. Like, you're not going to want to miss it. So we have everybody on the side here, right? We have Kyle and Danny. Hi guys. Rob and who else we got? We got a lot of Kyle and Danny. They like keep the side. Like, if you guys ever come early, you're gonna be entertained. Like, there's always people.
The chat starts early.
It starts early. I'm not sure who is that unknown me. I don't know who that is. I always feel bad when we don't know like actual names. I feel bad.
They're anonymous.
Did you guys by chance check out the Blonde special live last night? I'm actually shocked. Like, Rob, you should probably be taking a rest. It was a really good show, right? Like, we had a very special live last night. We got to talk with Rob and his very personal experience with the Conjuring House. And again, as I stated yesterday, like, sometimes we don't get to get that deep into dark experiences where you might hear just the experiences, but we never really hear how people come out.
How it really affects you. Yeah.
And how it affects you and how like everyday life, right?
Yeah.
And you might not even realize that it's affecting you that way, but people around you see it, as he stated. And, he shares a very inspiring story. So yeah, it was all right. It was a great show.
Yeah.
And the twos came back up. We had a little chat with Rob after the show. And we realized the show went for 2 hours and 22 minutes. So hey guys, if you're part of this amazing UNX channel and you're a numerologist, help a sister out.
Right.
Like, tell us what twos mean, because this keeps coming up every time Rob and I work on something for this crazy sort of work that we've been doing for the last 6 months. Okay, so tonight I'm super excited because not that long ago I stumbled upon this amazing page on Instagram, and I'm not gonna lie, it had the video that caught my attention had this sort of paranormal activity feel, and I hopefully that's not like an insult to him, but I was a huge, like, I followed this movie, this underground whole thing with paranormal activity for a couple years. The movie kept going to be released, and then it wasn't, and then it only came out in college towns, and I stood in line with everybody else hoping I would make the cut to get a ticket, and got to see it before it even became mainstream and fun and cool, right? Like, I got to sit in this theater, and it was so cool. And there was just something about the way our guests sort of filmed that had that feel and had me hooked. And now I'm just obsessed. And I just feel like, when I asked him to be on the show, it's like, he's got to be on this, like, he's got to come. So we have Angel from Inside the Attic right here with us.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, Angel. Welcome to the Blondes. Yeah, you're super cool, first of all. Thank you. Just want to state that. You're new to the scene, newer, I should say, to the scene.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's nice to get some sort of refreshing new content and personalities, and you're so kind as well. So it's like, that's lovely. It's so lovely. So everybody, this is Angel.
Hi, everybody.
All right, so let's sort of go into, you know, what sort of got you going, okay, you know what, we're going to become now an official team. Like, I feel like when we name them, you know, you do your thing for a long time and then you're like, I'm going to officially come out now, and we like name them and put a logo out there, right? We're like, there we are. It's our coming out party. Here we are. What was your coming out story?
So, I mean, I've been in the paranormal world for a very long time, since I've been very young. The thing is that, you know, when you're young, financial means are not really there, you know? So it's like, oh, I take my parents' camcorder, go to a cemetery with my friends, and it's nothing really official. So, I mean, I've always been into it my whole life, but recently I finally had, like, you know, the financial safety and stability to be like, you know what, I think I'm actually want to, you know, move forward with it, go full throttle, and then, you know, make the logo, give it a name, and actually put all my time and energy into it. So funny enough, last year I was with my girlfriend and her brother-in-law, and he showed me a YouTube page called Nuke's Top 5, he's awesome.
Love
I
Nukes.
was obsessed with him last year and this year. So, you know, before last year, I kind of was like out of the scene for like maybe a couple of years. I just put paranormal in the back burner. I was dealing with some things at home and stuff. And then last year when he showed me that, I was like, man, I'm going to start getting into it again. And then I just started becoming obsessed, and I started watching all these YouTube videos and stuff. And I'm like, you know, Angel, you have the money to do it. You know, you do have other hobbies and stuff like that, but that at the end of the day is really like your passion, like filmmaking and paranormal together, which thank you so much for the odd to Paranormal Activity. The same love that you have for it, I did too. I did. I went to the theater and everything when that came out. But yeah, I mean, you know, my girlfriend's brother-in-law really gave me that spark, like, hey, look, this is Nuke's Top 5. And I was like, wow, it's been so long. And then I just started diving into it, and I was like, I want to go full throttle, and I just want to do it my style. And, you know, and then I just did it. And that was last year is when I started researching. Okay. This year is when, you know, early this year is when I said, okay, I need a name, I need a logo, got that done. And then I just started making content. And then that's when you found me.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very interesting. So if you guys aren't a part of his social media platforms, please go check out TikTok and Instagram. I think, do you feel like TikTok is your main source of like sharing your stuff?
Yeah, so TikTok is, I'll be honest with you, when TikTok first came out, I was like, I don't really. But then when I started seeing like the promotional impact that TikTok is having right now, you know, I've been noticing that a lot of people, at least society right now, I feel like they need something that'll grab you quick. Mm-hmm. And it'll entertain you, and you can cut out like the dead silence. Yeah. So I am going to be doing YouTube and doing full episodes, but right now I'm kind of focusing on, you know, Angel, get to the point, show the viewer your evidence, give them a little bit of the story, and then little by little you can start unraveling that story instead of coming out with like a 30-minute, 40-minute video that might get somebody bored, you know.
And see, this is exactly why I think I loved your page so much. And you know, when you're into the paranormal, and especially like for Dee Dee and I, right, like there's so much content to go through, right? And we also have our own passion in you know, investigating paranormal, right? But it's like you can only watch so many videos throughout a day, or else that's all you're doing, right? Yeah. So I love that you have these short, like you get people hooked. You have a beautiful style of filming. It's exciting to hear that you love filmmaking. You can see that is a very obvious thing about your work. So you know, it was almost just like, and again, your kindness, your appreciation, you know, and on the Instagram, in the Instagram world, you know, this is the page that I work for, Paranormally Blonde. And, you know, anybody that is a part of our page, I will say it's very kind. And I've watched them be very kind to you. It's like, everybody's just like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Ghost Cowboy, Sean.
Yes.
Amazing for support. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes.
And Get Haunted is asking, you don't have to get super personal, but where is Angel living?
Well, right now I live in Orlando, Florida. I was born and raised in Miami my whole life, but I recently moved last year to Orlando.
Okay.
So that's like Central Florida, like right up there.
Okay. So I don't know where you're going with that, get haunted, but there you go. All right. So your first video that hooked me was you popping into your attic, and it just had such a great feel. So explain to us, because I believe this is your child. I'm sorry, this is hysterical. Now he's asking me for credit card number.
Just read that.
There you go. We'll put that in the memo for you, Get Haunted, so everybody can have access. So is this your childhood home that you are investigating when you're up in the attic?
Yes, that's my childhood home. I lived there for maybe 16 or 17 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you guys, and you might not, if you didn't know who Angel and the Inside the Attic crew is, then you probably didn't see the newest TikTok that is absolutely has some great creep factors. So he is back at his childhood home and he is investigating, and it's a great TikTok video, and he's letting you see, I don't know if you're sitting on a bed or a chair in a bedroom and you see something peeking around the door. And he's like, this is what I've seen all my life. Like, that is some crazy catch.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do your parents know that you're doing this?
Yeah. So my mom, funny enough, my mom, they raised me Catholic. So they were super like, oh, The Exorcist. They're like, oh no. And then I'm like, but when I was a kid, I was super into it. But then she saw like the videos being uploaded up there in Orlando, and she had called me. She's like, Angel, I know that you've always loved it, but man, I'm really happy that you're doing this because you're really like going really into it. And she's like, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to worry you because you're up there and I'm down here. But I've actually, been kind of seeing things since last year. So kind of like just to do a little bit of a spark notes of my life. I don't want to get too much into it because it's a super long story. So last year, my father passed in 2021 in January. So mind you, we haven't really had too much activity in the house. I would say since the last 6 or 7 years. Okay. But before that, obviously the shadows and stuff like that, they were happening a lot. Specifically in my room, they would just peep out at me when I was sleeping. So, she told me like, hey, 2021, nothing really happened. I wasn't really scared, but this year in 2022, I've just been experiencing, feeling like somebody's kind of watching me when I'm changing in my room. And, obviously they lived together and they were in that room for a long time. So I'm like, do you think it's dad? Do you think it's something else? She's like, I don't know. I'm like, would you feel comfortable if I went over there with my gear and I kind of, just checked it out, scoped it out and see if maybe I can debunk it first before I start going fully into it. She's like, yeah, of course, I'll be cool with it. And in the beginning, she was kind of like, like I'm kind of not really too cool with it. But now she's like, I want to go with the envoy from Ghost Stop with the letters. Let me play with it. Let me go do this and let me go do that. So she's super into it now. So she's like kind of like the co-pilot right now. When I'm down here, she's like, oh, let's do it. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Oh, that is cool. I love it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, since your mom sort of had that feeling that she wasn't really experiencing anything, but you feel you've captured these shadows kind of peeping on you, do you think this is connected to you, or do you think it's connected to the house?
I honestly believe it's connected to the house. The house has a little bit of a history. Before me and my family moved in, there was an elderly couple that did live here, and the wife passed away in my parents' room.
Oh, okay.
And the elderly gentleman passed away like in the backyard. I have seen things in the backyard though, but I haven't really gotten into the backyard yet. I kind of want to leave that for later down the line. Yeah. But, somebody did pass away in her room specifically, but I really don't know if it's them, because I really don't like it when a paranormal group or a person says, they hear a noise and they're like, oh, that's my dad, or, oh, that's this specific spirit. Like I really believe firmly in the content that I put out is 100% legit. Like if I go out and I have nothing, I just won't post. Okay. But, I don't really know who it is or what it is, but I know for sure it's going to be connected to the house, because when I left, it didn't really go with me.
Okay. So it's not like throughout your life, anywhere you've been, you've had crazy experiences.
I've had a couple, but it's been with different people in my life. Okay. So I don't really think it's specifically me. I've had people in my life that were into the paranormal as well, and those experiences happen with them specifically.
Okay.
I don't know if you want me to get into like one specifically that I do remember.
Please
That was
do
pretty
share with us. Yeah.
So a long time ago in high school, I had went to my girlfriend at the time. I went to her house and we were hanging out. And I told her, "Hey, can I get like a bottle of water really quick because I'm thirsty?" She's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll go get it for you." So she leaves, and then when she leaves, she has like a mirror like right next to the bed. And for some reason, something's like, "You're gonna have to turn right and look," because like I just felt eyes on me, and I just turn, and all I see is like a black shadow with like a hat, like in a suit. And it was like an older gentleman just mean mugging me, like just staring right at me. And I obviously at that time I wasn't like how I am right now, that I'm like more susceptible to it, and it's a lot easier to, you know, be like, "Oh, you know, I've seen this, that's okay, you know, just don't show it fear." But at that time I was like, "Oh my God, like what is this?" And then she just ran in with the water bottle, and then she had told me, she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna have to get into it." And I'm like, "Get into what?" And she's like, "Oh, you know, I wake up with bruises and this and that." And I'm like, "Oh man." And I'm like, "Do you have something attached to you?" And she's like, "Yeah, since I was little." And I'm like, "Is it like an elderly type of person?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's like an elderly man." And I'm like, "Yep, I saw him."
Oh,
Yeah.
I wonder though. You said hat. Like, did she have
that's where I went right to Hat Man.
Hat Man?
Yeah, Hat Man, right? And I'm like, so many people see Hat Man and they think, like, sometimes I'm like, okay, how can so many people see the same thing? But then when I saw it in person, I was like, yeah, this is 100% legit. Like, it was super scary at that time. Yeah, it was.
So
super
do you feel like she had any kind of, because it doesn't, I feel like Hat Man sort of follows suit with some trauma. Don't you, Dee? I mean, I feel like sometimes the stories, any stories that have been shared with me, I should say, I sort of feel like the people had some trauma, and then it's sort of like he's
attaches
there.
that way.
So could you have seen that with your girlfriend at the time? Like, did she if she feels that this was attached to her, you know, could there have been some trauma there that she wasn't letting go of, and he was showing himself, or maybe he was just a fancy ghost? I mean, I guess we don't really ever know. Are you truly that
well dressed?
Yeah, or
he was like a funky ghost. Yeah.
I
I honestly think maybe the thing is that her mom was really into witchcraft, you know, Santeria. We're Hispanic, so her mom was really into Santeria. So she would have clients come over. She had that room full of the saints and stuff. So it kind of had that, and there was probably drama. It's such a long time ago. I don't really remember specifically, but she did let me know. She's like, "Yeah, I've had something for a long time attached to me that looks like that." So that was one of the earlier experiences where I saw something like just looking back at me.
Yeah.
That would be pretty creepy. And so did you ever know what became of her?
I honestly don't know. I mean, you know, we obviously split ways, and I never heard from her again. I mean, hopefully everything's okay on that. And I mean, I don't know. They were all into the paranormal, so I'm pretty sure maybe they ended up doing something down the line.
Yeah, your paths could cross
again. Out YouTube. Maybe they have a channel.
Everybody does. Totally possible.
Everybody's got a channel. You're freaking everybody out with the mirrors. Everybody has a mirror story, and you kind of have, you know, it's an interesting, mirrors bring up a whole, right? Another, I guess if they're a portal, a keeper, a carrier, so to speak, possibly. I don't know.
It could be.
It could be. So you're young. I don't mean to keep mentioning that, but you're young. I'm going to assume in your 20s.
29, yeah. About to be 30 in September.
Okay, well, I thought you were like 21. So.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's a compliment.
But you're still very young in comparison. Do you and you're new to the game. So, you know, as you're embarking on this journey though, you know, do you feel, so you have your team, you've picked your team. I believe you have, is it 3 people that are on your team? We have
3 people right now on my team, but I'm kind of taking a different approach to having a paranormal team. It's something that like I thought would be kind of cool and different, where usually people have one set team, that's it. Yeah. For me, the thing is I have individuals that live up north, I have individuals that live down south. Okay. So I was thinking of doing like temporary teams as guests. So I have a couple of friends down in Miami. that I would consider like the Miami team. And then I have my Orlando team. But my core team right now, it's 3 members.
Okay.
I love that
Okay.
idea.
So do you feel, as somebody younger in the field and getting into it, do you find that it's easy to slide right in and kind of blend in amongst all the other investigators and teams out there? Do you find them to be helpful? I mean, you found some very nice people on Instagram, but as you're working in your community, or, it can be hard to get your name out there. I mean, no offense, I'm 51 and I've been doing this a long freaking time and I still can't get my shit out, or excuse me, my stuff out there. Sorry, Race. I did not mean to let that slip out, but I still can't get out there. It's a hard road to get in there and really slide in.
It is difficult, but I mean, I don't want to get like all not emotional, but motivational. But I feel like if anybody ever wants to do something, whether it be paranormal or whatever it is that you're aspiring to do, I feel like if you honestly sit down and say, okay, if I really want to do this, I really have to give it everything. Like, it can't be like, oh, I'm just, one Saturday, I'm just going to do. No, like if you really want to make a name for yourself, the best suggestion for me would be consistency. Yeah. Quality content, not trying to reach out for anything or lying or anything like that. But, obviously knowing the community, knowing the gear, the devices, the terminology, for me, it was not that it was easy, but it was a lot easier for me than somebody who maybe doesn't know those things, because they would maybe need to do a little bit more research. But given the fact that I've been into the paranormal my whole life, basically, like it was a little bit easier for me to go in there. But I mean, nothing's easy, like filming videos and making merch or doing a podcast or, staying consistent in this world that's constantly going and going and going. It's a little bit difficult. I give the perfect example all the time whenever somebody asks me this is way back in the day. Let's see, for example, somebody makes an album every like 5 or 6 years. You respected that, the band had to go out, experience life, and they came back. But now a band comes out with a song and then next year they're like, oh, this is so old. Yeah. And I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, this is so old. This is last year. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I picked that up and I was like, okay, so if I am going to get into this, then consistency is key. Right. Consistency is everything. Making sure that you're staying up to date, not with trends, because I feel like being trendy can be sometimes good, but sometimes it kind of backfires on you because people are going to be like, wow, this person's just being trendy instead of being genuine or authentic. You got to find like a good balance in the middle where you're being authentic and maybe you can do like a trend per se. Like for me, in the beginning, I thought TikTok was a trend. I was like, oh my God, like I don't ever see me doing, and then now it's like, oh, I'm uploading the TikTok like once every week or 2 weeks now. But it's, it really depends on how much passion you really, really have for it. You have to take it serious. You can't go into anything, whether it be paranormal or whatever you're doing. You can't really go into it joking around or thinking that it's just going to fall from the sky. You really have to put in hours of work. You have to sacrifice, and you have to consistently put out content that people want to see. Because just like an album can be old in a year, so can a paranormal team or a channel or you or whoever, That's so true. That to me is the key.
We have very short attention spans today. Yes. We do not, right. And if it's not catching our attention, we're like on to the next, right? Yeah,
exactly.
And it's one thing that I do love about your filming. Again, I mean, you might not feel it's trendy, and I don't use that word as a jab at all, but I think you have such a nice mix of the way you film it, and it probably helps that you are a filmmaker, so you can keep things a little bit, I don't know. There's definitely a professional quality to your work.
Thank you.
In your last video that you posted, which was when you see the shadow, it's very creepy.
Yeah.
So you were asking questions. You were using this box.
It's a spirit box, a portal.
Okay, the portal. So this thing talks really creepy. Like I know, I have the original Shack Hack. So it just sounds like a radio ripping through channels, right? And now they have all these cool additions to your spirit box, and it really changes up the voices, and you're asking questions. And this particular time you're talking, it appears to say your name. Did that catch you off guard?
It really, I have been doing this for so long, and I've never heard any EVP I've ever caught say my name. And that really made me think like, wow, this something is here and it's making itself known like, hey, I know who you are. I know your name. I've been here for a while. Just so you know, I'm here. That night, I'll be honest with you, I recorded everything. And then I didn't play it back because I don't like playing things back right off the bat. I feel like you need a good night's sleep. Next day, refresh, have a fresh mind, sit down and really listen to your EVPs. So that night I was like kind of disappointed. I'm like, I didn't really hear anything that stood out. You know, I was kind of bummed out. I was like, man, I don't know if this is really going to go anywhere, this episode. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to sit down, put my headphones on. And then I was listening. There was a lot of like random things going through, but then I randomly heard loud, like my name. It just said Angel, super loud. And I instantly paused and I took off my headphones and I was like, oh my God, this is wow. And I'm like, this has to be the first EVP that I show because it just makes sense. Like the fact that it knows your name means that it's intelligent, you know, because an EVP can be anything and it could mean anything. It could say yes, no, or hey, or I caught one that says sweetheart, and it's not really like answering me specifically. Right. But when you hear it say your name, it's like it's a different ball game. Like you know that you're dealing with something very intelligent.
Yeah, it's creepy. You got to go and watch it, Dee Dee. He has it on Facebook or and Instagram, but it is a very interesting video. And, you know, and I love because you kind of just give it a quick, like you watch, he's using the cat balls, which are the new, right? Now you can get a pack of like 2 or 4 for like $10 when they used to be like $1.99. Now ghost hunters have jacked the prices up on the flashing cat balls. So he's using cat balls and he's using this and it is, you know, and I don't know with this particular spirit box portal, I mean, I think it's just the way the voices come out too, and it says your name, and it's just like, and then I think it says you need to leave.
Yeah, it was pretty weird because it doesn't really say you need to leave. It says you need, and then it pauses, and then it says leave super loud at the end. Yeah. And I was like, I got it. Believe me, I know what you're saying, but I'm not going to.
So. Okay, so you're doing this at your childhood home. Mm-hmm. Are you sort of, I feel like the way you're doing it is you're sharing bits of the story in real time as you're doing it, not gathering a whole bunch and then releasing little bits at a time. Is this true?
No, what I'm doing is, let's say tonight I film, tomorrow I'll review footage, and then the next day I would just release it. Okay. So I'm not really gathering anything up right now. That style for me is going to work best for like when we start doing the full episodes on YouTube. Mm-hmm. That will work a little bit better. But I feel like right now, since I've been like, I'm honestly not used to this. Like I've been getting such an overwhelmingly big response to these videos at my childhood home. And I'm like, I have to keep going because number one, I really want to know what's going on. Yeah. You know, because this, you know, that place has a lot of meaning to me. And there's a lot of memories, you know, like 16, 17 years. My dad passed in the house. And it's just a lot of emotional memories, a lot of energies from not just us living there, but the people before us. So the energy is there, the activity is there. And we're just super curious to know what it is, you know, like just to make contact, which is the main reason. I mean, I think that everybody does this, you know.
And this house is in Florida too?
Yes, it's in Florida. It's down in Miami, Florida, to be specific. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really cool, Dee Dee, because I feel like it may be because it almost makes you feel like you're investigating with him a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. So instead of somebody, and there's nothing wrong with these show types, right? But I think you're right. I think you're capturing attention with these really cool shorter videos that, you know, it's giving you all the treats up front, but you're doing it in real time, which just is like, it makes somebody like me go, I got to check his page. Like, is there anything new out? Like,
just see the follow-up. Yeah. Cause we all love a good follow-up. Yeah. Did you go to film school?
No, I've, the thing is that so I wanted to go to film school, but when it came to college, I graduated Miami-Dade College, 2014 for psychology. Nothing to do with arts. So I graduated with psychology, and then, you know, my dad got sick. I had to take care of him and the family business. But I do I'll wear a lot of hats. I've done a lot of different things. I'm a firm believer in, if you can do it, just do everything until you find whatever it is that you love. So in the beginning, I wanted to make like horror movies. And, I did a lot of short films when I was younger. I did a lot of like, skits. We did a little bit of comedy in high school. I wasn't really into it. I was like, I need to get to like the scary stuff. And then that channel, finally, they had one video that they let me like go all out. And then I just made basically like a Paranormal Activity meets The Exorcist, weird, like it was fun. But the thing is that I feel like the filmmaking aspect to what I'm doing is helping me a lot, because I'm taking what I learned from what I wanted to do with film and incorporating it into the videos for the paranormal. And I used to have a podcast as well. I used to have 2 of them, and then I just discontinued them because I wanted to go full on for Inside the Attic. So I feel like, the audio work, the video work, making sure that the shots look, appealing to the eye, making sure it's not, the famous early YouTube potato videos of, like a shampoo bottle falling down on the floor and oh my God, no, like I try my best to get the best quality, just so people can know, number one, like, this person's really taking this serious. And number 2, I want to capture evidence in the best quality that I can. That way people know that it's legit.
Right.
Because it's a lot easier like that.
So you went to college for psychology. That's a great play into paranormal. Do you use it a lot, do you feel?
I mean, I have used it a lot. From time to time, I can use it, whether it's, trying to make a deal with, somebody that wants to help us out, or whether it's myself or my teammates, if they're having like a very emotional moment, I try to calm them down, try to give them like breathing exercises and things like that I learned in college. And it does help them out. And, having somebody that studied that on your team, that's a lot of emotions, and it can get in your head. And, it can just be a lot of emotional stress, and it just puts a lot of toll on people. Yeah. So whenever my teammates are feeling like, hey, Angel, last night was insane, I need somebody to talk to. Yeah. I'm like, hey, you got your guy, team, even though I'm team leader and the creator and we're friends and all that stuff, at the end of the day, I'm going to look at you like a friend. I'm not going to look at you like a coworker. So I'm going to help you out.
Right. Yeah, that's good. I think it's important. I mean, it's huge in paranormal psychology. Is a big play while we're doing this work. Okay, so you mentioned you're Hispanic, and do you find any of those anything in your culture that is different in paranormal? I mean, every culture brings something different to the table for paranormal. Our belief systems, our I don't know, the way we cleanse things, the way we speak about things, right? Things that one culture might run to, another culture will be like, that we don't play with that. So
exactly.
What is it that you feel about your culture that is unique in the paranormal world?
I feel like I love that you asked that question, because I'm a very proud Hispanic. And when it comes to the culture, when it comes to Hispanic people, we are obsessed with the paranormal, because since we're little, we were pretty much told like stories about the paranormal. They believe in, like Santeria is one, for example. That's very heavy down in Miami, where I used to live. That is, that's a world of its own that I really want to get into as well, so I can show the public that doesn't know about these cultural differences in the paranormal, like, hey, look, this is happening like all over the place and we had no idea. Yeah. But when it comes to differences, I would say that the Hispanic community is a lot more open to the paranormal, very open to it. Like if you go to a movie theater for any horror movie in Miami, the house is packed with Hispanic people. Like it's all Hispanic, and they even have their own show times to put the latest movies in Spanish in the theater, because they know it's going to be filled to the brim with people. So having that as like a foundation when you grow up, it just, it helps you a lot, because you're not going to have like a family member like, what are you doing? Like, what? You're in the dark with the box that's called a portal. What, Angel, what are you doing? No, they're like, oh, so you're doing that. That's awesome. They're like, send me the video. They're like, can I be in it? And I'm like, yeah, of course.
So you said you were raised Catholic.
Yeah.
But I still think the Hispanic community and the Catholicism, it's a really, I mean, when you look at, because some of my favorite horror movies would be more of your either produced in Mexico or South America are some of my favorite. And one of my absolute favorite movies, I don't know if you're really into scary movies, Terrified is one of my favorite movies. And I think that one, now I'm not going to get it right, and I don't want to insult anybody. It is such a good movie, and there is such an interesting take. I feel like sometimes when, and I love Asian horror movies. So it's interesting to see how each culture takes like one part of the paranormal, and it's so prevalent, right? Like American movies are just so Hollywood, right? And that's why I tend to go towards the more international horror movies, because I like the flair that they give. So a lot of the Hispanic, Baby's Room, that's another amazing, Debbie, tell me, I can't remember if that one, was it Spanish or I don't remember. That one's a really good one too. It's about a baby monitor. So if you want to, you'll never want kids after that. I'll tell you, right? Right now it's creepy. But I feel like when you look at those movies, right, they're really heavily into more of that possession.
Yeah.
Definitely working more with the devil and, the rosary, like that kind of the more religious aspect really gets played in those, right? And if you watch a lot of Asian horror, it's really interesting that they use the food aspect as like a gluttonous demon, so it is always so interesting to me how cultures play into this. And here's the thing. I don't think, as investigators, if you get to explore in the different cultures, there's got to be different ways of investigating, right?
Yeah.
Like we bring that, if I was to go down to Mexico City and do something and I'm not speaking Spanish, or, I mean, what am I connecting? I don't know. Is it just, does it matter at that point?
It's super. I really love that you brought that up too, because I was on an investigation, which is it's on one of our videos, that we went down to Miami, and my team was like, should we talk Spanish? And I was like, that's a really good idea, because like 9 times out of 10, if anything happened, they were probably Hispanic people if they passed, or whoever lived there before. So, speaking in that language and probably connecting better could be a way to get a little bit closer. And funny enough, one of my teammates, her name is Wendy, on that investigation, I think I released that video where there was one of the cat balls on top of a chair, and it didn't go off at all night. And then she comes up and she says in Spanish, she's like, can you light it up? And then right there, it just goes boom. Yeah. And we were all like, okay, we got to shift gears. We got to start going with bilingual now. Yeah. So it is interesting though, like the fact that different cultures do that. And I do love like the Asian aspect to it. I always say, whenever I talk about movies, like the Asian community has horror movies down packed as like my top favorites. Yeah. Because they always change it up. They do different things. Hollywood is more like, there's this house, somebody died, someone gets possessed, somebody's, and then that's it. And I'm like, cool, I've seen it, but change it up, like a little bit different.
It's Ghost Cowboy actually has been doing some fun stuff on Instagram. Sean's been sharing like movies. He'll be like, hey, I found this, and it's on Netflix, right? And he'll say, I'll give it this many skulls or whatever. And some of them have been, Asian horror movies. And I watched one, and I think I told you, Dee Dee, like one of the last ones I watched that he suggested actually was about Buddha. Like it was sort of a crazy take on Buddhism and like scary stuff. And it's like, I don't know. It's a very interesting, I think that, if you want to explore all of paranormal and to get a better understanding about what roles we play in it, what we bring to the table. I mean, I know it's universe, and we sort of had this conversation last night, right? I know it's universe and it's universal. However, how we relate to it is not. And so I think it's important to see all the cultures that participate in this and to understand how somebody else does investigate, what makes them feel comfortable, right? Like what is something you like to do? Kind of like you said with Santeria, like what do you like to do to sort of calm yourself before an investigation? Or if you feel like something's getting darker or a little bit more intense, what do you like to do to calm yourself?
So, I mean, I've never really gone into an investigation like scared, because I've been told by several people, if you show fear and they know it, it's just gonna be a disaster. So I try to always just be like, what, this is an investigation. Make sure that you're telling yourself and you're speaking out loud. You can't follow me home. You can't attach yourself to me. You can't touch me. You can't harm me. And you have to really have that mindset while you're doing that, because, it could, attach itself, or it could end up hurting you. Like that investigation with the cat balls, I had a scratch like right around here on one of my tattoos. And it was because I was trying to provoke a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I kind of pulled like a Zach Baggins moment, but
we all do.
It happens. It happens. You're in the heat of the moment. You're like, man, this is going great. I'm just going to start, provoking a little bit. And then, things get a little bit, intense. But for me to calm myself down, I always try to have like a little huddle with myself, or if my team is there, have a little huddle and say, you know what, no matter what happens, keep rolling. Number one, don't stop filming. And then number two, let's have a good time. And let's make sure that we're all mentally in a good, safe place. You can't bring that in. Right. If you're having trouble at home, at your job, whatever, and you have to leave that at home. And when you're on that investigation, you really gotta be fully in there. And because if it starts knowing that you're having it uses it against you. And then, like I said, things can get a little intense.
And even the psychology end of it, right? Like if you have that stuff going on in your personal life, even if paranormal's not using against you, we tend to use that against ourselves, right? Like we might start to feel there are some things happening that maybe if you were not in that mind frame or frame of mind, you might not see it that way, right? It's a whole,
you blame things for, it has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Whole cycle. So you guys, you've got your temporary teams, you've got your 3 right now that you're using, Wendy, Paula, and Michelle. What do you see for you guys? Like, so you're coming out with a bang, and it was SD who, yes, Angel is doing World's Largest Ghost Hunt 2022. We're super excited for him. Angel, it's amazing. Like when you were like, I'm going to do it, it's like, this is so cool. Like, I love that you're saying yes to so many things. You're like, I'm putting it out there. I'm going to put myself out there. And what a great opportunity, because I think you guys are going to you're going to stand out. So look, 2 of the 3 right here on the channel right now are going to be on World's Largest. Dee Dee is also part of World's Largest doing dream analysis. So if you ever need dream analysis, Angel, if you've got something going on, I have to say, on last night's live, as we were talking some very serious talk, Dee Dee sort of brought in dream analysis and was really focusing on some symbolism that was shared last night. And Dee Dee, I started thinking today, like, you really need to offer that within people's investigations, because I think that is a really good way to start adding more depth to these investigations. So I'm just saying, everybody, give her a shout. So what do you, so you're going to do the World's Largest. What else do you see coming down the pike for yourself and the team?
Honestly, our goal is just trying to hit up as many places as we possibly can, build our portfolio, and then just see where things go. Right now, honestly, obviously we're independent. We're not signed to anybody. Like there's no deals or anything like that. And we're going to keep it like that for a little bit until we start releasing like the full episodes and stuff. But the end goal would be, just trying to spice it up, something different. Me and my team, like you've said, we're young, we're hungry. We want to change it up. We want things to be different. We want it to be the best quality. We want people to say, wow, these people are credible. They're very credible. Their evidence is not something that they just upload to upload. Like what they're doing really means something to them. They respect it. So we just want to continue on that path and see where it could take us. Obviously down the road, we're open to anything, but right now we're just really focused on getting as much in our portfolio as we possibly can. So we have done an overnight investigation. We are doing, obviously, well, specifically me, I didn't really want anybody else involved in the childhood home investigation because I feel like it would just be a lot easier if it was just me, because I feel like if I start bringing in people, it might not go too well. So I'm just trying to keep it calm, just myself. But, the sky's the limit, really. We're just really trying to hit the ground running with it.
Yeah.
And that's what, every time that we upload, every time that we do a post or we support somebody else, that's what we want to do, is make sure that we put out there that, para unity is like the biggest thing to us. Everybody's been super kind. Ghost Cowboy, you were one of the first people that actually shouted us out. And I found that to be so awesome, because you were like, these guys, they just started out and this and that. And I was like so flattered. And then you asked me to come on the show, and I was flattered again. I was like, of course, yeah, I would love to, say the story of how it started and all that good stuff. But the sky's the limit, really.
Yeah. Here's the thing, there's great people out there investigating. There are amazing people that have been investigating for many years. But there are a lot of new people. And, I am a big believer that I think everybody should have a moment on a show. I also believe everybody should have a t-shirt. I think everybody should have a logo, and everybody should wear their own merch. I truly believe this. And I think that sometimes we get a little too focused on some of the paranormal celebrities. There's nothing wrong with that, and those are great for para conventions, paracons, or whatever. That's great. But, there are a lot of us out there that want to see everybody that's in the paranormal and doing something with their own flair. And so, you caught my eye, and it was just like, I don't remember, I think I asked you on the show before you actually came out and said you were doing the world's largest. So it was like, this is so awesome. I'm so excited that you might be on our World's Largest Ghost Hunt Wednesday episode as well. So yeah, I think when somebody's new, it is all about getting it out there. And I think, that's what we do. We like to share what we find. And I think that whole paranormal activity vibe sort of just was like, oh, yep, that's my style. I got to totally check this out. Okay. So you said you're building your portfolio. So are you doing popular locations, or do you also do, like, I know you're doing your home, but would you also do other private residents?
Yes. So that's another thing that we want to put a twist on it, because we've been noticing, I do a lot of research. I'm very active online on social media, on YouTube and stuff. And I was just trying to write down patterns of what people are doing right now. You have the big names, Bob Mackey's, you have the Conjuring House, you have the Warrens Museum, you have all these amazing locations, but you don't have videos of more obscure locations that nobody knows about. Right. And how can you stand out? You stand out by, a cemetery that nobody's ever heard of, or a forest that nobody's ever heard of. And then you get this great activity, and then it's something that nobody's ever seen before. So yeah, you can do the popular ones, down the line whenever you want to, but why not do it where you're located? That's a big thing that I always tell anybody who's starting any project. You don't need to be in like California, New York, whatever. You can do it from your hometown. You just have to know how to like shift gears and say, how can I change things? How can I make it different in order for me to stand out in a good way? And that's a big thing that I pride myself on, is that we do want to do, like house calls. We do want to do, more obscure locations like cemeteries that people haven't heard of. Different locations that people might not have heard of, abandoned locations and stuff. The whole urban explorer thing is like so blown up right now. Like people are in love with it. So could be like a mix of that with paranormal. So, I'm just trying to do everything as different as possible. That way they can't say inside the attic, they want to be like X and Y and X, so that's the main goal.
Yeah. Well, and you're right? Every town has its legends and lores, and some are more popular, but I think it doesn't take much digging. It really doesn't. I mean, Dee Dee, you have amazing stories all around you that I don't think you really have to travel far to find anything by you, be it a, old San Diego cemetery, mean, you've got a lot of history right there. As my sister, yes, my sister has in Central Texas, Baby's Head Cemetery. I mean, there are these cool, that maybe just the locals know. And that's the stuff that I like to see too, is, those places that we don't hear of because,
it's
history
new. Yeah.
And history isn't just at Bob Mackey's, right? Like there is
exactly.
And so kudos to you for getting out there and not just hitting the popular locations because, I think that stuff sort of becomes, it's refreshing because it's not the same story you've heard a million times, or maybe you're not trying to recreate an experience that somebody else had. So you're just out there looking for your own experience. So I think that's an awesome take. Do you see so you've got a YouTube, and you're going to do episodes, but can you see yourselves doing like a show since you were a podcaster?
I mean, I would love to, have like an actual show where we can have like a crew, and then I can focus more on like actually investigating. Cause sometimes like the director hat comes on too much and I'm like, dude, I want to have fun with this. This is my passion. I want to investigate more than film. But that would be a dream, come true, to have, an actual show, a crew of people that I trust to, get down and dirty and go to the places that we need to go to and just film it in a way that, that I approve of, which is, cinematic, but different, get different angles and different ways of doing it. But yeah, definitely we would love to do an actual show. That way we can have, people behind the scenes doing the recording and then us just doing the investigations.
And that's hard, right, Dee Dee? Like
it is.
Sometimes when, you're doing your own investigations, I think Dee Dee and I had an assignment where it was like, okay, well, give us some pictures of you investigating. Well, I'm usually the one taking a picture. So it can be hard. I mean, because you don't want to not be in the moment. Right.
Right. You miss something by filming. Yeah.
You miss a lot of something. So it is, you're either filming or you're investigating or you're looking at equipment. So if you're doing it all, if you're trying to manage equipment, manage the photography or the filming and investigating it's a lot to take on. So I personally look forward to seeing sort of how this plays out.
Me too.
Everybody seriously, please go check out and hopefully I've got it. If it's not in the show notes, I will be sure to put it in the comments here. His TikTok, his Instagram, he is on Facebook, but under his personal name right now. So hopefully we'll get him to get his page set up for Inside the Attic. So you can, for the older folks that are on Facebook. I'm not on TikTok. I'm afraid. But follow his story because it is really, really interesting. Again, like he said, they're shorter, so they can hold your attention for a few minutes. You don't have to sit down and sort of go through anything for 45 minutes, but you're going to want to kind of take a look at his childhood home. And do you play out in this? Do you sort of, I know you kind of gave in this video, you talked about how this is something that I've seen as a kid. Yeah. Are you going to share it, like, as you continue, will you share more of what this house was for you growing up, or are you going to just keep it to the paranormal?
Oh, no, definitely. Yeah. Like my upbringing, the different things that I saw, the different experiences, that's very important to me because it's going to help tell the story of probably what's happening right now, why it's happening. Okay. But yeah, definitely. And these videos right now, I love them. They're great. But there's going to be a lot more happening in the house because there's just a lot more gear that we can use that we have and a lot more things that we can do to see if we can make more contact. And the story, does go on a little bit more than what we're showing right now. But, I'm just trying to do it, like you said, just trying to do it live. Like, hey, this is what I came up with. This is the evidence. Here you go. Yeah. Just like a delivery service, basically. Like, hey, here you go. You got the daily dosage of paranormal.
It's working.
So is it increasing the activity since you started doing this?
Yes.
It is. And have you gotten any kind of answers? Like, do you have any suspicions on who it is? And is who you think you're communicating with now, do you think that's the shadow that you saw as a child?
I think it could be the shadow that I saw as a child because I did want to mention on the show that scene that you see, it's a little bit dark. So the lights on the portals, what you mainly see, and the ghost box. But that's the hallway where the shadow is always popping in and out of that's right in front of my old room. So I said, okay, lights out. The whole house has to be pitch black. I need to just sit in that darkness with that portal, and I need to see what I can what comes up. And then that's what came out. I mean, I really don't know who it could be, because if it is the shadow that I have been seeing since I was younger, obviously it's not my father. So I want to know who it is. Could it be the people that passed away before we got here, or could it be somebody even way before that? I really don't know. But that's the main goal, you know, trying to find out if we can get more intelligent responses. Luckily, we've had really intelligent responses with obviously saying my name. That's something I've never experienced. But a quick story, the other night I came home and I'm down here visiting. So, you know, I'm trying to do, you know, day job, and then at night investigate while I can. So, you know, took a quick shower, and I've never felt unsafe in my bathroom. Never. So I'm just showering, and then something's like, you really should look. Once again, I don't know what it is with mirrors and me. I don't know. It's like I'm going to have to just throw all my mirrors away or something. But so it's like, you should really look out, like just peep out the curtain and see something. I look, nothing's there. I close the curtain, washing my hair really quick, and then I just hear like a quick bang like that. And I'm like, oh, I know what that sound is. That's the same sound I make when I open up the cupboard, like where the mirror is, to get like like shaving kit or whatever. Yeah. It literally opened, and then when I look again, it was wide open, and I was like, wow, this has never happened in like 17 years. This is pretty cool. I don't have my camera, but I will make sure to do something in the bathroom, because obviously that takes a lot of energy, you know, opening a door or anything. Like even the cat balls, when they go off, a lot of people say, oh, that's just, I'm like, you know, you have to understand that when they move or they do something, they're using all that energy. So if it did light up twice, that is a lot, you know, that's a lot. And for them to open up a cupboard that was pretty shut, said that, you know, it gathered up a lot of energy, and it let me know, like, hey, I'm here. Yeah. And I was like, I feel you. Let me finish showering, and I will get out of the bathroom, and I won't bother.
You might have to hide. You might have to hide in your shower. Do a fake shower with a camera. So realize that you're waiting.
Let the water run, and then just film the mirror. And then I'm going to shower now.
I'm not paying attention at all. Awesome. Well, Angel, what a pleasure to actually now meet you. Welcome to our circle of friends. I hope everybody please go support Inside the Attic and what Angel is doing. It's really cool. It's really fun. And you couldn't have been a nicer, kinder soul. Whatever we can do to help you, Angel, please let us know. Please also be sure September 24th to watch Angel and Dee Dee. Please find them when they get their time slots. We'll put those out there so you guys can know when to look for them to watch them September 24th on the world's largest ghost hunt. Also, Dee Dee is looking for some dreams so she can analyze those dreams on the world's largest ghost hunt night. So if you're interested in sharing your dream, please mail them into Haunted Hour Podcast at yahoo.com, correct? Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
So mail those in, and it will be right there for her to do worldwide, to share around the world. And Angel, I look forward to seeing what your team does that night. And do you have a location picked out?
We do. It's the Old County Jail up in Northern Florida.
Awesome. Yeah. So let's check this out and give him all the support. Guys, thank you so much once again for joining us this Monday right here on the UnX channel. Your new mainstream is a lot to say all in one night. Race, thank you so much for being our producer and helping us out. And next week, Rick McCallum.
Yeah.
Hollywood Ghost Hunter. You got to check him out. He's just back from his big trip, everybody. And we want to hear how Scotland was. That's his favorite place on the planet. You guys have a fantastic night. Angel, you as well. And Dee Dee, we will see you, I'm sure, on Messenger later tonight or tomorrow.
Thank you so much for having me.
Everyone.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for everything.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You gonna take us out?
I guess I could.
Ray's not going to.
Did he fall asleep?
I don't know. That we're getting extra time with Angel. No, is he gonna raise? So I can't really sing. Angel, do you sing? I don't really sing.
I don't. I'm more of a guitar guy than a singer. Yeah.
We should have told you to have your guitar ready just in case. You never know.
You never know. Yeah.
That would have been awesome. What?